Hi, this video is about death. It's about the concepts and topics surrounding death. I know I haven't uploaded in a while, and that's because I was busy with school, but I'm planning on uploading a lot next week in the vacation, and I still had a bit of time to record this video. This video is scripted, and I did a little bit of research for it. My sources for this video will be in the description. Thank you all for joining in on this video. Before we get started, by the way, if you hear some weird noises in the background, that's my 4 cats trying to kill each other. So I apologize for that. But yeah, let's start with the first topic. Different cultures have different opinions and visions on death, and it's very interesting to see. For example, in African cultures, they have a more colorful and lively vibe when someone dies. They believe that the deceased continue living after death, and that without a proper funeral or burial, the dead person will become a ghost. But in the USA, Americans see talking about death more as a negative thing and a not to do thing. Mostly Christian Americans celebrate the afterlife, not death itself. They may even see it as a sin in some cases. And then you have West Europe, who are kind of in the middle. They focus more on the life that the deceased has lived, not their death, and they look more natural at it. Of course, this is not always the case. When I talk about these places, I more mean most people in those places. Of course, there are atheists in America, and of course, there are a lot of religious people in West of Europe. But yeah, as you probably noticed by now, religion is a big topic around death and in different regions. Positive and negative views around death. There are different ways to look at death. The most common one is either look at the life of the person before death or look at the fact that the person will never live more or again. It's the basic of you either are happy that the person was in your life or that you're sad that the person doesn't exist in your life anymore. You can also see it with the theme and style of the burial and funeral. Some funerals like in rest of Europe or USA are more dark and they wear black clothes and play sad music, but in Africa the funerals are way more positive with white clothes and again more color. Death of course has different sides. Death is important to nature and death is only possible with life, but life is also only possible with death. I also think that life wouldn't be very fulfilling without death, because death gives aging and goals and other things purpose, kind of like a bucket list. The bad side of course is that even though that person might be reminded in other people's hearts, their body won't be seen as alive or as a person to nature anymore. The person's body will become a part of nature and it will only be that to life for the rest of his life. Even very famous people will be forgotten, and that's the bad side of life, or the bad side of death. In my opinion, death is necessary for life and growth. I think most people look too negative at death. Of course, losing your lost ones is a very bad emotional moment and can cause trauma or mental pain over long periods. But even then, I like to look at it like the time I spent with that person and the life that that person had, not the fact that that person doesn't exist anymore. The way people die. Of course, people have different opinions on people when they die and most importantly, how they die. For example, Christians call it a sin when people die in certain ways. When people commit suicide, most Christians call it a sin or a spit in the face of God. Even some families call it disrespectful when someone commits suicide, which I think is kind of fucked up because most times when people commit suicide it's because they have mental problems which they need help with that they can get from their environment, such as their family. Some cultures respect a person more if they die in a certain ways. Some people think it's more heroic if you die in combat. If you die in a more honorable way, people will view you in a more honorable image after you die, which makes sense. It's a bit weird when you think about it because of course in all cases you die and in death we are all, well, dead. But people will still judge people a lot on what happened because of them after their death and because of their death. What happens after death? Of course, this is kind of a hard topic and more vague and a questionable topic. Even in religion, there is a lot of debate what happens after death. Some people believe that after death you burn, some believe that you go to a good place, and some even believe that your true life is just getting started after you die. Or maybe you can even say that we are not alive and just simulations of our minds of our true alive bodies. But that last one is probably too far-fetched. A lot of, especially religious people, believe that it is has to do with faith, karma, sins, or just straight up the choice of the gods. And those go hand in hand almost all the time. Personally, I don't believe there is something after death. I don't believe this in the soul or in the spirit of the body. I only believe in the mind. And most of the time, these views come over as a more pessimistic or negative view on life, but I disagree. It simply is just another vision to look at it. That life should be more treasured and that faith or gods don't play a hand in your life. You are responsible for your own actions and are in control. Of course, you can argue that technically everything you ever learned is because of your environment, not your own choice. But that's probably more a topic for another video. I also look at death more positive as the last strawberry on the cake. Death gives reason and logic and pressure to the choices in your life. It gives them meaning because the most important choices you most of the time have to make, you can't make twice. Your time is a subject because it has an ending, or else it wouldn't be important. But yeah, that's of course just my opinion. But yeah, already, and I know this is very fast, but this leaves me to the end of the video. Sorry if this video is a more fast paced or a bit less of a deep dive, but that's because I have it kind of busy at the moment. If you guys find this topic fun to talk about or interesting, I'll probably make a part 2. But then with more of a deep dive into the subject, because I do think it's an interesting subject. Of course, like always, don't forget to give your opinion in the comment section. And of course, bye bye.